Hello there, and welcome to the second in this free video series from the Journal of Michael Jackson Academic Studies. Must have MJ study tools. In this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about annotation and why I think you should annotate a book called Man in the Music. My name is Elizabeth Amisu, and I am the author of The Dangerous Philosophies of Michael Jackson, His Music, His Persona, and His Artistic Afterlife. I am also the editor of the Journal of Michael Jackson Academic Studies, and we have such long titles. And I am also presenter of the acclaimed podcast, Michael Jackson's Dream Lives On, an academic conversation. This video, we're going to just be briefly chatting about Man in the Music by Joseph Vogel. Man in the Music is a stunning book. I'm sure you have a copy of it, but if you haven't got a copy of it, go and get a copy of this book. If you are a Michael Jackson researcher or a Michael Jackson fan, or anyone who has even a broad or even a passing interest in Michael Jackson, this is a book for you. Why do I say that? Well, for 5 specific reasons. The first reason is that it has these wonderful sections which cover the solo adult albums that Michael released in his lifetime. So here's chapter 3, and it's on the Bad album. And these sections are wonderful because they really give you a greater sense of transition between album to album and also artistic expansion and evolution. It's one of those books that is so dense and so rich and so varied in its content that the sections really help you to pin it down. Michael's is similar. He's just so broad in his scope, and it can be kind of difficult to get your head around, the career. So this is a fantastic place to start. The sections are wonderful. At the end of every section is another subsection which covers every track in turn from every album. And this is one of the sections I absolutely love, because not only do you get a sense of each song as a piece of art in itself, but you also get the sense of how each song contributes to the bigger picture, which is the album. The second reason why I think that Man in the Music is a must-have study tool for MJ researchers is because every single song that Michael Jackson produced in the era that is known to this author and who was working with the Michael Jackson estate is in there. So we start to get a sense of when certain songs that released posthumously were actually first recorded. And I found really astonishing how so many of the songs that we saw much later on were actually produced years and decades ago. So that's a really good opportunity for you to look up songs that you've never heard of, and there are so many songs. Michael massively over recorded for each album, and I think he definitely recorded just for the love of it. So we have such a broad spectrum of songs that aren't on albums, but they're in here, so that's really cool. Another reason, my third reason, why I think that you will really, really benefit from annotating this book. And by annotation, I mean, let's find some annotation here. By annotation, I mean this kind of thing. Highlighting, making notes in the text, is because it gives absolutely fantastic context. The author covers everything from the music industry at the time, to what Michael's intentions were for an album, to what other people involved in the album thought about it, to what the reviewers said, to what the reviewers really meant by what they said, to what people are saying now posthumously. And that is a fantastic way to approach anything Michael Jackson. You really need to get a good sense of when you are talking about and why you are talking about that time and what influences were at play. So this book gives you a really fantastic jumping off point to discuss all of the context. and it really paints the picture of the time really vividly. So one of the most fantastic things I love about this book, and I use it a lot, is because it discusses the Thriller era and how Michael Jackson's fame grew alongside a more ferocious, kind of vicious paparazzi culture, which wasn't quite there in the Michael Jackson 5 era, and how he kind of bore the brunt of it because he was so spectacularly famous. Similar sort of thing as you see with Princess Diana, the late lady Princess Diana. She obviously was in a car accident because the paparazzi was so ferocious, and Vogel really explains how Michael kind of grew up at the crest of that wave. So there's a kind of press coverage that he had that you just would not get today. The stars of today just could never get that level of press coverage and press scrutiny that Michael endured and people like Princess Diana endured. And that gives you a really good context as to things like Thriller and Bad, and how Michael's fame kind of turned on him in a really kind of nasty way. It gives you a much deeper appreciation for that and how that worked. The fifth reason why I think that you should annotate this book is because it is one of the few books we have in the study of Michael Jackson that is focused on his art. The focus of this book is not his life. His life is more of an afterthought in this book. It's more of a substantial, contextual piece of information. The focus of this book is his creative life and his creative work. And I can't imagine a better subject for a book, and that's why you can see it's so big. It's also full of lots of beautiful pictures, so it'll keep you entertained. And yeah, that's it. Those are my 5 reasons. Now, I've got 2 more videos to go for this video series. The 2 videos that are coming are going to be presented by the other editor of the Journal of Michael Jackson Academic Studies, Karen Merks. And at the end of our free video series of 4 videos, we are going to be presenting to you a Q&A video where we just answer all the questions that have come up from you from this series. So, your thoughts and feelings about Man in the Music. Have you read it? Did you enjoy it? Have you used it in your research? Do you want to? Do you have any more questions about it? Ask us and we will be answering all those questions in our 5th Q&A video. Thank you for taking the time to listen and keep Michaeling.